I'm excited.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one, man.
Having some of that, having some of this, having some of that over there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I am your host, Perry, and with me, as always, is one of the co-hosts of the show, Swan.
Hello.
Hello, Swan. How are you, buddy?
I'm better than good because we came up with a concept for today's show that's like a dream of mine.
All Elijah Craig.
All Elijah Craig. Yes.
Which is
Absolutely.
exactly what we're going to be doing. We are going to be reviewing the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel later on in the show. And we normally start off with Flying Blind, but this week, because we are pretty transparent about what all we're drinking, I figured it was okay to bypass the blind thing, and we'll just drink something that's going to get us in the mood. So this is a single barrel of Elijah Craig that I was fortunate enough to be a part of. And this was, I think it was like March 4th or 5th that we picked this. It was with a group out of North Carolina. Buddy Ted Graham, who's a listener of the show, organized most of it. He sent me a couple bottles, which I'm very thankful for. And this was the last pick that I was able to go on before COVID-19 shutdowns and lockdowns and quarantines and whatnot. So I think this is a phenomenal pick. And it's not just because I went on it. I legitimately think that it's very good.
I think it's good.
Also, Chad was on this pick.
Nice.
Yeah, we were basically for this instance, the poor man's Will and Grease. Because it was the Friday that Whiskey Weekend started. And Will and Grease got stuck in Franklin, Tennessee, a little bit longer than they had intended. So they were looking for somebody to take their spots, and they reached out to myself and Chad and said, "Do you want to do this?" It's like, heck yeah, I do.
I'm already at the distillery. I'm already here.
I've been here for a week. I sleep in the Rick houses.
Yes.
I don't. Heaven Hill, please don't cancel me. We love you too much, and you send us too much good stuff. I don't want to lose that opportunity. Anyway, no, this is a great pick, and I'm very thankful that I was able to not only go on it but get a couple bottles of it as well.
I feel like doing Heaven Hill picks is just a weird thing in general because you show up and it's like, here's 3 barrels to pick from, and you're like, I have to choose from Perfection Part 2, and
Perfecto,
the best thing I've ever had. Which one am I grabbing here today?
See, and that was the tough part with this one. We were tasting them all at cast strength, and of course we had to proof them down to 94 or relatively what it would be like once it was actually bottled. And unanimously, we were all like, "This is so difficult." Like each of the barrels that we were trying, there were 3 barrels at cast strength. They were out of this world. Yeah. They were all so delicious. And then we were like, but what's it actually going to taste like once it gets down to 94? And that became the deciding factor once we got to that point. And it turned out killer. Mm-hmm. It reminds me a lot of there was that transition period between when the 12-year age statement went away and the new bottle design. It reminds me a lot of that in-between non-age stated Elijah Craig that was still in the old pirate bottle.
Yeah. I have no complaints at all. I'm just drinking away over here at this point.
You're not even thinking about it too much.
No, it's enjoyable.
Hey, before we get into the main crux of the episode, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that is, of course, near and dear to our hearts, and that is actually the symposium that is being put on by Bourbon Women later on this month. Of course, Peggy No Stevens has a huge part in that, and this is going to be taking place digitally, of course, on August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. They have an incredible lineup, which is actually going to be kicking off Women's Equality Week, which is really cool. Folks like Susan Regler and Peggy, of course, would be there as well. Jessica Whitaker from Buffalo Trace. Brent Elliott. That's not a woman. Brent Elliott's going to be there from Four Roses. Sarah from It's Bourbon Night is going to be doing something with them as well. Marianne Eves, Andrea Wilson, who is there for our live show, along with Sarah and Peggy. And there's going to be just a really cool lineup of folks that are going to be participating in this. You're going to be able to find all of the details about the conference on their website at bourbonwomen.org. And the best part about it, the tickets are free. So anybody can come and participate. It's the first time they've, of course, ever done this digitally. You know, it was all due, of course, to COVID and this, that, and the other. So please go and check that out. They would really appreciate it. We would really appreciate it as well, because Peggy's a good friend of the show. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate every time that we get to hang out with her and chat with her. She's just a wonderful, wonderful person.
She's great, and I just want to keep constantly picking her mind on pairings.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's so impressive.
Absolutely, and she's just an absolute wealth of knowledge, not just with pairings, but bourbon history too, and how we can move towards more equality in the bourbon world and the whiskey world as well. And we're very thankful for her, not just her contributions to our space, our creative space, and the podcast and whatnot. But also what she has done on that front. So I'm really looking forward to this. I don't think I'll be able to attend all of it, but I will definitely be able to drop in, hopefully at the very least, for Sarah's spiel.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Why don't we go ahead and get into a little bit of news? We're going to kind of keep the news a little bit lighter this week, just because we do have a lot to get into with this Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. First and foremost, it has officially been announced that Maker's Mark is going to be releasing a cast strength version of 46.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Listen, Makers, I'm not going to say that you're my favorite, but a strong contender nonetheless. And seeing that little 3-pack for $70, I'm like, it's just a tad bit out of my price range. I just don't want to spend that much on it. And now that I can just get it anytime.
Yeah. And it's going to be about $60 a bottle. I mean, it's not going to be very expensive. 109.6 proof. Of course, cast strength. Mm-hmm. But this is incredible. This is the first time it's really been available outside of the distillery gift shop as well.
Yeah.
And they did have that little, you remember the gift set that they had towards the end of last year? It was the
Rob Samuels.
Yeah, it was the cast strength version of regular Makers, mm-hmm. Cast strength 46, and then a private select assortment of staves. I can't remember exactly what it was, but everything was, very specific to that pack. And that was, aside from going to the distillery, the only way that you could have gotten cast strength 46.
Yeah.
And I constantly looked at it and passed it up, thinking there's something else I'm going to wind up getting. I can't even remember what that would have been. I really wish that I had gotten it. Really wish that I had.
Yeah.
At the very least, just to get my excitement up for this. That being said, I'm so excited for this.
Now, the special release in there, they had the 46, the cast strength, and that third one.
Yes.
That one was interesting to me because I think they ended up using 12 staves instead of the generic 10 that they used for their picks.
Interesting.
Which I thought was strange.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but I remember there being something special about that one in particular.
Yeah.
But I'll take as much special Makers as you're willing to get. Honestly, I keep returning to the RC6, and I'm just wildly impressed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, their stuff is just the past 2 years. I've gone well, Makers is just a company that's going to put out the same thing every single year, and it's going to do amazing because it's Makers.
I want to get back and retry the 101 at some point.
Yeah,
too.
And all their stuff has been just so impressive recently.
Oh, Swan, you know what we didn't do?
What's that?
We forgot to do what we've been drinking recently.
Oh, everything. About everything. Yeah.
I had such a perfect segue into the news that I can't think of a way that I would have fixed that.
I think it's like a thing now that we forget it, and then we're like, oh, by the way.
Yeah. We've done that once before, but I was able to slot it back into where it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
So we'll back up a little bit. Anything specific that you've been drinking?
Knob Creek. I know that's a shocker to everyone here, including myself.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, but I finished off the No Country for Old Men pick last night.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
Man, I love that bottle.
It's gone.
I've put a hurting on the 15, almost 15 year single barrel from Total Wine that you brought over.
It's good. Total Wine's a weird thing, man. You walk
So
in and there's like
strange.
4 9-year picks, and there's just one almost 15-year pick just sitting out on the shelf, and I'm like, you're coming home with me with Buddy there. We're going. We're going right now.
So I sold my car this past week, and I, of course, first instinct was to go to the liquor store and grab a couple of things. So I was on Jason, the Mash and Drums celebratory anniversary live stream last week as well, where he was celebrating 2 years, and we did a blind of Russell's, Knob Creek, Old Forester 1920, and Four Roses Small Batch Select. And I hadn't had a bottle of the Prohibition style or Small Batch Select in a while, so I grabbed one of each of those. I found that that Russell's pick over there too. It's the only Camp Nelson pick I've seen this year, which is bizarre.
Yeah, it's August.
Really strange. Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, there was like a 3-month period where I wasn't going to the liquor store at all. So
Oh, yeah. I keep
remember that?
forgetting that I was just like out and about during all of that because I was working.
yeah. I also picked this up. The Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey.
Give it here, buddy.
You want to drink this in the middle of our Heaven Hill episode?
You know, I'm feeling Lucy Swanee today. Let's do it.
So this is a release that was previously only available in Tennessee, and this past week I saw it in Liquor Barn, so I grabbed one of them. And funny enough, I think Saturday evening I ran into Total Wine to grab a bottle of 101, or excuse me, Liquor Barn to grab a bottle of 101, and there was Chad also grabbing a bottle of the Nelsons. So I was like, hey, I've had some of that.
It's definitely Tennessee.
I will say, I think it tastes better than it smells.
I mean, it smells identical to the Bottled and Bond Dickel. I mean, it is just,
I don't know if I'd go that far.
to me,
I don't know if I'd
I don't
go
know.
that far.
It's one of those things, I guess, where it's in that category, so
Sure.
my brain just lumps it.
It's 91 proof. Significantly lower than the Dickel Bottled and Bond. Okay, I can see kind of where you're coming from with the Dickel. I think it's got a chocolate note on the nose, though, that's definitely not present in the 13-year Bottled and Bond from
Yeah.
Dickel.
I like this, actually.
I actually do too. I think it starts a little corn forward, but as it kind of rolls into the back of the palate, into the finish, it really starts getting like dark chocolatey with fruits. The finish is not super long, but I think that it's enjoyable.
See, I'm getting like cherry cordial, coconut,
Yeah, absolutely.
chocolate.
I really do like this. If I had to give it a quick review, I think I got this for like $30,
It's not bad.
maybe. Quick review, I'd say probably a 12 or 13 out of 20.
Yeah, I think I'd be
You
right
know?
there.
I think it's
13
in
or
that
so.
ballpark.
It's impressive for the
Yeah.
price and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might do a deep dive on it here sometime soon. Maybe on this week's live stream. I'm not sure yet. So I
see.
would like to get into it. I also want to do Bourbon Roulette again on my live stream. Were you there for that one?
No, but you know what? We can incorporate the Lazy Susan I got at home. We'll just spin that
Well,
thing.
I was doing it with a number generator online, and I had 20 different whiskeys, and then whatever the top 5 or 6 were that came up, that's what I had to drink. I think the very first one I had to drink too was Spring Mill.
Do you like punishment?
Are you a glutton for it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry to take a slight detour.
Heaven Hill.
From the news. Yeah, we'll get back to Heaven Hill in a minute. There is another big new release that you alerted me to. I had no idea that this was even coming out. But this brand new Angel's Envy Founders Collection bottle with it's finished in Mizunara oak from Japan.
Did you read about that stuff?
Yeah, apparently it's like
ridiculously hard to use.
Super hard to come by, hard to use. And I was actually listening to Whiskey Cast today. I haven't listened to Whiskey Cast in a while, but he had Dave Jennings, Rarebird 101 on. And I was like, well, I'll tune back in. And he was talking with, the son of Wes Henderson, Kyle Henderson, about how hard it is to get Mizunara casks. And I think the number was astronomical for how much more expensive it is to get a bottle or a barrel of Mizunara. I think he said, I'd have to go back and I'll probably have to fact check myself on this one, but it's like 15 times more expensive than it is to get an American oak barrel.
It's insane.
So it totally makes sense why they're selling for it, or why they are selling it for $350 a bottle.
Yeah, and also it's one of the most beautiful bottles I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. Excuse me. You brought that to my attention, and at first I was like, I don't like it. But the more I've looked at it, it is gorgeous.
It is very, very nice, especially knowing that like. I think the best looking bottle, like just as far as attention to detail, was the Double Eagle. What is it?
Double Eagle Very Rare.
Double Eagle Very Rare. God, they could have worked on that name.
But it's not easy to say either.
No, but I mean, they just put so much effort into that one. It's got the two like crystal eagles that are one's inside, one's on the stopper.
Yeah.
And Woodford put out that like cognac finished Baccarat crystal or whatever it is. I'm sure I pronounced it incorrectly. Last year, and then this is like in that same kind of tier, but like it's just so much cheaper at the same time, and they've obviously put the same level of effort into it.
Absolutely, and care. And Kyle was talking about how this was something that they had been wanting to do since they laid their first barrels down in 2010. So it's a huge thing that they're actually able to do this now. It's a blend of 4 and 9-year-old bourbons. That was then finished for 2 more years in the Mizunara. And it's bottled at 97.8 proof.
I can see Whistle Pig doing something similar. If they haven't already. I've honestly not really looked too far into some of their like Black Prince style releases.
Sure.
But I could see them doing some stuff with it too.
I might have to reach out to Wes and see if we can get a sample of this. Just to see if it's possible, because we've got some connections with him and some friends of mutual friends as well. He's been on the show before. He was on Bourbon and Beyond, or maybe it was Hometown Rising from last year. I can't remember for sure, but either way, he's a great guy, and hopefully we'd be able to make something happen there. I'm super interested in seeing what this tastes like. I couldn't even begin to like postulate what this might be close to.
No, I have no clue. I don't know what tasting notes. It's like when I read marzipan and I'm just like, okay.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's almond butter.
Is it though?
Truly. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it is.
Well, I did eat an entire tub of almond butter last week, so I wish that was a joke. I wish that was funny to me. But
it's
no,
funny
seriously.
to me.
Yeah, no.
How's that keto diet going?
I'm not on keto. I just love peanut butter and almond butter.
I still can't get this super glue off my fingers. It's driving me crazy. Do you think soaking them in bourbon will help?
Can't hurt.
Yeah, we'll find out. Heaven Hill is also releasing, speaking of Heaven Hill, their newest addition to the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond line. This is officially their spring release. 9 years old. I actually reviewed this on my live stream last week before surprising some folks with what we're actually going to be reviewing today. So this is $90 a bottle. You and I have, of course, both tried this.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what I gave this. I think I gave it somewhere in the range of a 13 or a 14. I think it was actually closer to 13.
Yeah.
And really, I don't know if I would have given it as high of a score if it weren't presented so well.
Yes. But
And this
that's
is something
kind of
we've
the name
talked
of the
about.
game with this bottle. Though.
Absolutely. And it's something we've talked about a bunch on the show, too.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned it on multiple occasions, not just here. I talked about it last year on or maybe it was earlier this year. I can't remember with Chad on the It's Bourbon Night live stream. How once my bottle is empty, I want to use it as an actual decanter.
Yes.
Because the cork is much better than using a glass stopper that would, be flimsy in a decanter. Like standard decanters, I just don't like that much. I don't think it seals the whiskey that well.
No, it's something you're going to drink within the week. It's like the way that it's like. I mean, that's just how it feels,
That's the name of the game for sure.
Yeah, but with those, like I know that I can cork the thing and leave it for 2 years and it'll probably be fine.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I come from with this one. This is not my favorite release that they've put out. I just think it fell really flat in terms of flavors. It's just a dumb thing to say.
And honestly, go back to the Elijah Craig joke that I made of like, how do you pick one between 3 wonderful whiskeys? It's like they're in the same boat. They've already put out some of the best stuff I've had out of Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
And then they put out this, and it's like, oh, it's still really good, but is it as good as the other ones? They're in a weird spot there. They put out so much phenomenal product. It's weird for it to not hold up, even though it's still phenomenal.
Yeah. I agree. So I think that people are still going to search for this, even if it's not the best release that they've put out, even if it's just for the decanter. Mm-hmm. I say go for it. I mean, again, once this is done, I'm going to soak the bottle so that I can get the labels off. And everything, and it'll look real nice and clean and everything, and then decant something.
Yeah.
It's just 101. It'd be really funny, actually. But because it's out of a real nice decanter, people are like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, Chad does that with his Booker's Rye bottle.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Trade secret. Maybe I should bleep that out.
The people should know.
Truth here. The truth must cut through. How about some releases for the week?
Hit me with them.
Not a whole lot that we're going to touch on. We've kind of basically talked about everything that we needed to. Maybe one or two that we'll bring up because I want us to get into this review in a bad way. I am really anxious for us to get into this. So actually, we'll just talk about one release. I actually didn't have any TTB labels either to talk about this week. So everything's kind of primed for us to take a deep dive into the Toasted Barrel. So this only release that we're gonna be talking about is the 4-Gate 10-year-old Tennessee Straight Bourbon. Again, it's 10 years old. It is going to be 112.2 proof. Yes, $150 for sale in Kentucky and Tennessee. Only 812 bottles. Mm-hmm. And it's actually out right now. Or supposed to be out right now. 84% corn, 8% rye, and 8% malted barley. That is a high corn content.
Yeah. Have you had any of the 4-Gate stuff? I've only had one.
I don't think I have, actually.
We were in line for a drawing or whatever at Liquor Barn. Of course, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking at the sample bar, as you do, and I got the 5.5-year 4-Gate.
Interesting.
It was pretty good, actually. I was impressed with what it was, but I mean, for the price, it's just not something I'm going to grab.
Sure, that's fair. It's something that I don't have experience with, so at $150, it's just not on my radar.
No,
it's not something that I want to pursue, and I understand that people like it. I totally get that, but this is a pass for me. So, I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and this could be one, unless we get a sample of it by chance. I'll wind up waiting for somebody to review it and see if I want to get into it, or maybe we'll just be the ones to review it. I don't know.
We'll find out.
Let's get in contact with 4-Gate. We may as well.
I'm down. I'm down. Send us your whiskey. We'll try it.
Oh, Swan. The time has come for us to review this.
I just finished what I had left in my glass.
So before we actually do this, there are a couple steps that we need to take. First off, I want to say thank you so much to Heaven Hill for sending us this media packet with all the stuff that was included. It wasn't just a bottle of the toasted barrel. They also sent a 375 of the normal Elijah Craig small batch, which we're going to be tasting first so that we can just adjust ourselves again and really be able to kind of break down what it is that's different between this product and toasted barrel. But they also sent a whole letter explaining the product itself and what actually goes into producing a toasted barrel. So, Swan, I'm going to actually, because the box is closer to you, what I'm going to ask you to do is talk about the three different, and they also sent barrel staves. They were chunks of barrel staves, but they were representative of the three different types of processes that went into creating this project. So even if you want to just start from where it's bulleted 1, 2, 3,
yeah,
you want to read through that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so number 1, referring to the staves they sent 3 here. The char number 3, Elijah Craig Small Batch, used to age our award-winning Elijah Craig Small Batch bourbon, and traditionally used to age other Heaven Hill distillery products. So this is just kind of their baseline.
Yeah.
The number 2 they sent was Custom Toast Only, a custom toasted barrel stave designed in partnership with independent stave company, unique only to Elijah Craig. This custom toast profile includes a smooth and steady increase in both time and temperature at moderate intensity levels during the toasting phase. This brings forward dark sugar flavors within the wood, caramelizing and blending them together to create toast that is not too smoky and offers just the right amount of sweetness. So we've seen this kind of with the toasted before. We've had Michter's.
Yeah.
That's just really big on this process. And it shows. And then I've also had some people that have tried, I think it was Pact 4 of the Blood Oath that was toasted.
Was it really?
I think so.
I don't think I knew that.
And same thing. It's really just kind of playing big on like the dark sugar flavors, caramelizing, and just bringing that out with some smokiness.
Do me a favor real quick. Take a sip of this Elijah Craig. This is like the best small batch Elijah Craig I've had in a long time.
Like, why are they trying to one-up this?
Oh, that finish is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, it starts going into like a peanut brittle covered in milk chocolate. Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm not buying picks. No, I'm just kidding. Picks are good.
Sometimes you find a 12-year pick and you're like, holy moly.
That's true. That's true.
But then did you already talk about the third stave that's in there too?
No. So the third one is Custom Toast Char with number 1.
Yes.
So this is like a mixture one. This stave represents the actual barrel used in the finishing period. It has been custom toasted according to stave number 2, which we've got in the box here.
Yes.
And has a level 1 flash char. Here, the standards of identity for straight bourbon whiskey are maintained by only using a New American Oak charred barrels to finish our whiskey.
Yep.
So they kind of rested on a technicality there.
They did, but I think that I don't know if it matters.
Well put, sir. Well put.
So I'm going to share a photo on social media of what these three staves look like and the differences between them so that you can see what we're looking at as well. Swan, you actually looked at those staves too.
I did, yeah.
Right? So it's clear the difference between what they're doing. The 3 char is a lot more deep. It's got a deeper color to it.
It's got kind of like an alligator pattern.
It does,
almost
but
in the wood.
Yeah, but it's not as not as intricate as the number 4 alligator char actually is.
Yeah.
The toasted barrel itself without the char is really light on the inside, kind of almost like it was sitting in water, that it got a little bit wet on the inside of the barrel. And then the last one, which is toasted with the number 1 char, that is actually you can see that it's the fire has been introduced to actually
Yeah.
bring out those oak flavors. So, first off, what an incredible media pack that we got sent for this.
Oh, yeah.
This is like above and beyond what we've gotten from distilleries before.
Yeah, I mean, this is like them almost trying to introduce toasted stuff into their line, permanently beyond this.
Yeah.
Like, they really want us to understand the process of toasting and why it's important and bringing new flavor profiles into the bourbon world so that we don't keep things, it doesn't get stale,
Yeah. And, they're doing new things like introducing a rye into the Elijah Craig line.
Yes.
Which is in and of itself a very good product. We both liked it when we reviewed it earlier. But then we have this.
Gimme.
We've been excited about this for months now. And here's how excited I was. I sent a message to our Heaven Hill, I'll say rep, because it's the person that we normally contact or in contact with about new products, who lets us know when, we should be receiving a sample kit or something. And we got the press release, and I immediately emailed her back and said, can we get a sample of this or a bottle of this? I really want to get it. Like, we've been excited for it and everything. And she was like, yeah, there's a media pack over there with your name on it. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, for a split second, I was legitimately worried that we weren't going to be able to experience this. As I said earlier, I have tried this already. I tried this on my live stream. I had a little bit of it on Saturday as well. My dad got to try it too. I'm pouring a little bit heavy on this because
Perry, it's all good. We're an audio medium. They think you got a tiny little bit.
Yeah, I'm just using my thimble-sized Glencairn.
Yeah, we just got our jigger out, 1 ounce piece. It's all good.
So I want this because we did just pour this and we've had some of the Elijah Craig sitting in our glass. I want to give it a little bit of time to open up before we get into it. So I say we spend a little bit more time drinking on the regular Elijah Craig small batch.
Yes, sir.
Not a problem.
You got it, Chief.
What I have said forever about Elijah Craig small batch is this is what I would tell people bourbon tastes like.
Mm-hmm.
Gentle caramel and oak notes combined with vanilla. A backbone of sweetness that comes from the corn, and the barrel influence is definitely present as well because you can tell that it's got age to it. You can tell that it's got a char swirling around in the glass. I've never had a bad Elijah Craig.
Can I tell you a fun story about Elijah Craig?
We have many fun stories about
this
Elijah Craig.
New. This one's new. It just happened within the month.
While you do that, I'm still listening. I'm going to pull something else out of the cabinet for after we're done with this.
Gotcha.
Okay, go for it.
So, Diane, my fiance, we went over to her friends, and she's got, a couple of different things of liquor over there. So amaretto, wine, just odds and ends. And she had 1 bottle of bourbon. And I was like, oh, cool. She's got Elijah Craig. Mad respect. All for it. And so probably a good month or 2 ago, she went back into the liquor store, and she's like, Sean keeps coming over here and, just keeps drinking that. Swan keeps coming over here and keeps drinking the Elijah Craig. We'll go ahead and get a different bottle of bourbon. I guess she forgot that she had Elijah Craig and really just poured over the shelf at Total Wine to figure out what she wanted. And then she's like, this bottle looks really cool. And so she picked up another bottle of Elijah Craig and brought it back. So now there's 2 bottles of Elijah Craig. To which I said, who's mad? I will drink both of them. It is totally fine. Thank you for thinking of me. Honestly, this is like my favorite thing. Just anytime. I'll drink it. It's all good. Exactly. Am I the only one that finds it harder to find things when I put them back where they're supposed to be?
Yes. Before I moved out of the old studio, I knew where everything was, even though it was all on the floor and scattered about.
Yes.
But we'll have a little bit of this. A little bit of that later. But anyway, Elijah Craig's always what I've said bourbon should taste like.
Oh, yes.
And with a product like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof essentially being my favorite bourbon, it's just hard for me to not get excited about this. One of the things, too, that as we're reading about the steps that they took to produce this, and of course, we're going to say, oh, I wanted a barrel proof, but I would like to try this at barrel proof after it's been toast finished.
Yes. This opens a lot of doors, because I'm thinking, well, what if they did a third? They did a toasted barrel proof release every year, or like a toast, or like a rye,
Yes.
or even a toasted rye. I mean, you can just play with it so much. They've opened so many doors. I mean, you've seen what Michter's has got in their line. If they're a big proponent of that toasting, they've got tons of stuff in their line.
So the first thing I want to say about this, I promise I'm not trying to make you wait on tasting this, but you need to be prepared for it.
Okay.
I want you to be prepared for it. The first thing I'll say, the toast barrel is significantly darker than the small batch.
It is.
I mean, by quite a lot. And while I still love the nose on the small batch,
I've not even nosed it yet.
here we go.
Woo!
I didn't edit that, by the way. That was in real time.
Give me a candle. Oh, my goodness.
The oak is present. The barrel influence is super present. I will say that.
Oh, this can hurt my feelings anytime. You know what I was not expecting? The level of vanilla that got stepped up in this.
Yeah. I really think, and it could be just influential because of the product itself. I get so much toasted marshmallow on this nose.
I do. Is it crazy for me to say that I want to mix this with cream soda?
Not my bottle.
I'll get my own. I'm going to start doing some crazy stuff. It just has like a cream soda thing going with it already.
Oh, there is a spice in the middle of the nose, too, that I am all about. And even, like, as I kind of go a little bit deeper, there's a bouquet of floral notes that I'm finding and just loving. But you, sir, just had your first sip of it. Tell me about it, Swan.
It is so unique. I'm going back to the regular to kind of figure out some differences here.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and have a sip of the toasted.
It is ridiculous how much more mellow the toasted is. I'm going to go back to their paper here that they sent with the media package. Dark sugar. I'm definitely getting it. And caramelizing. I think that's it. I am salivating so much right now. Ooh.
That is a finish that does not quit.
Yeah.
It is infinite. Oh, my gosh.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I do, too.
It's 94, right? 94 proof?
Mm-hmm.
This is... Oh, man. This is going to be a strong contender for the best thing I've had this year.
Swan, I'm not going to disagree with you.
I'm pouring myself some more.
I think at the age, at the proof, this is one of the densest bourbons I've had in a long time.
Well, and it's strange, too, because, like, dense is a weird way to put it. Dense is, like, it's got a lot up front, it's got a lot in the middle, it's got a lot in the back, and then it's got a good finish. Mm-hmm. It's dense in that. But if you're talking about, like, and a lot of newer bourbon drinkers will relate to this, smooth, it is actually smoother than the original, in my opinion, which is so strange, because having both of those qualities of dense and smooth are usually not, they're not in the same area.
Well, I think a lot of where that comes from, though, not only is the extra time that it's aged in the barrel, because it's aged an extra 18 months.
Yes.
Once it's finished. That toasting of the secondary barrel is going to bring out, go back to our conversation with Greg Snyder. It's going to bring out more of the baked notes. It's going to bring out more of the sweeter notes as well with vanilla, because it's a different process. You're not charring it. You're not introducing fire to bring out the deeper notes. You're actually producing something that's going to have a rounder flavor profile to it.
Yeah.
So not only are they producing it originally in a charred barrel, but then they're putting it in a toasted barrel that's also been charred.
Yes.
So, and it's totally different from a double barrel bourbon. Totally different from it. Because double barrels usually are using the same char, and in that process, wind up sometimes becoming bitter.
Yeah.
And they become too tannic.
Yeah, you get into that like really dark chocolate territory with a lot of them.
Yeah. In this case, though, with a light char and a toast combined, it works this weird black magic wizardry on it that creates one of the most pleasing experiences I've ever had with a bourbon. I don't think it's too sweet.
No.
I can see why people might say it's too sweet.
Yes, I can see that as well. I don't know. I'm just impressed.
I am too. I think that really the finish length, I'm floored by it. I can't ignore it because it just it keeps going and going.
I think one of the most impressive things is they've had people for years now clamor so heavily for the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and I'm in that club. And I think they've really have identified that some of their really big core audience is these proof hounds. You know, I want something that's going to hurt me a little bit. And this is not a release that when I saw it hit the TTB, I was just like, oh, cool. You know, like I'm excited for it. Just wish it was higher proof. I'm retracting that statement. This, where it's at, is phenomenal. It's got the finish. It's got the complexity. It doesn't need much else. And I mean, me trying to pin down a flavor profile or like even a food, because that's always been my big thing. It's like I'm trying to like come up with some weird flavor combination that's all together in one food item, but I can't. There's just so much going on. I mean, it's like the difference between using putting a hot dog and like boiling it in water and then putting it on a charcoal grill, or like, you know, taking a marshmallow and cooking it with like a skewer,
putting it in the microwave,
and then putting like over a roasting fire with a stick and like sticking in the microwave, like. And that's the thing is like, I'm comparing it with like a hot dog in the in the microwave or boiled, and then this wonderful thing like the charcoal grill that's just like superior, but like in this case the microwave is regular Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
Who's mad with that? That's also phenomenal.
I love your new catchphrase of who's mad about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I don't even know, like, it's not, I don't know, like, it's so, because we just keep praising it. I'm trying to dial it back a little bit so that I can find a way to be critical of it.
If I had to be any way critical about it, it does have this kind of like switching point.
It does.
Where you get this very small instance of like, oh, this is going to get weirdly tannic.
But it goes away really quickly.
But it just transitions into a really good finish.
Yeah, and I do think that there is a slight, just a hair of a weird aftertaste. But it's very, very light.
Yeah.
And it's not enough for me to want to dock it too many points.
No, and to me, it just tastes like, did you ever have those Terry's oranges, the ones you smack on the table and they break off?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it gets into that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, it's just kind of a fake chocolate kind of thing
Yeah,
going
absolutely.
on.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm getting at with the weird aftertaste.
Yeah, and so if you had fake chocolate and then turned around and had like Ghirardelli right next to it, you'd be like, those are, I mean, obviously one's better than the other.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if it's Halloween, I'm eating a half a bowl of candy and it's all the cheap chocolate with the Frankenstein wrapping on it. And guess what? I'm going to love it.
I'm
Like,
not upset about that.
No. And so, I don't know. It's hard. It's a weird comparison.
Yeah. Let's talk about the availability of this one, though.
Yeah, it's not there.
It's not. It's going to be allocated. From what I understand, it's going to be a once-a-year release. But it's going to be $50.
I think it's worth it.
I think if we're talking about allocated releases, with this level of work put into it, and the amount of meticulousness that has gone into producing something like this,
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that the value behind it is totally there. Am I worried about what might happen to it in the future? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But for this to be a newly introduced product, still being allocated,
Yeah.
not being widely available, strangely enough, I'm on board. And I don't know if it's that it seems like it's more attainable than other allocated products that come out once a year. But seriously, for the most part, I am having trouble finding fault in this. And it very well could be the allocation side of it. Would it be great if it were widely released? Absolutely. 100%. But there's too much work that goes into this for it to be a regular release. Toasted products are just not common on the market. The only other one that I can think of that's not allocated is chicken cock.
Yeah.
Because they toast their barrels before they char them. And actually, now that I'm saying that, I'm realizing that there's somebody else on the market who does that as well. It might be Old Forester or another Brown Foreman owned property. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there is just a level of commitment that comes with this product that I think warrants it being exclusive and it being actually affordable.
I think it's nice because Elijah Craig's such a staple, and they just added to it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're an Elijah Craig fan, this is an easy yes. I mean, it's $10 less already than the barrel proof, which is already a phenomenal deal. I mean, I just think that it's nice. I think
Isn't ECBP like 65 or 70?
60 is usually what I get it for. But
Well, okay.
yeah, but
You are the bourbon finder.
but still, even $20 less, it's still a good deal. I mean, I'd love for it to be available along with their rye that's weirdly like allocated in its
Sure.
own way right now.
Yeah.
But
Hey, the Wild Turkey Rare Breed rye is showing up around here finally, too.
yeah, I saw it the other day.
What
I'm
a weird
excited.
moment that was.
It's strange. They're very quiet with the releases of
They
Wild
are.
Turkey,
It's
man.
odd.
They just start showing up, and it's, I don't know. I go to the liquor store, and I get all excited. I'm like, is everybody else seeing this? Is everybody else seeing this? And they're like, it's just, we got it shipped in and just put it on the shelf. I'm like, but you didn't tell me. I didn't know. No one told me.
Where was my text message?
Liquor Barn, you send me 5 emails a week.
Where was my
and
Facebook
no one told me about
notification?
this.
Sorry, tangent. But I don't know, man. It's so tough because and I'm not trying to make it sound like we're being paid by Heaven Hill to talk about it this way.
We're not.
We're
We
not.
just love them.
We do. And we were sent this free of charge.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any bones about this. That was a yes, it is a plus, but it's not a plus to the point where I'm going to give them high marks just because it was free to us.
I mean, look at the Old Fitzgerald. We're like, it's not a favorite.
Exactly.
We're being honest about it, but it's just, this is amazing.
The way that we reviewed the Larceny Barrel Proof A120 was not super positive. So in that case, I mean, what are we're not trying to prove anything here. We are fully resting on our laurels and the way that we feel about this. Honestly, this is one of the highest rated products that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's dadgummit. I can't give it a perfect score.
No, and I'm not going to give it a perfect score. I think it does have areas where it can get better. That's only because I want you guys to strive to get better at Heaven Hill, because I think that's just
even
a
as
fun
good
game.
As they already are.
I think that's just a fun game. But it's definitely up there. It's one of the stronger releases I've had this year.
Right now, this is the best thing I've had this year.
I would say it's definitely up there for me.
I can't think of anything else that I've had that has been as pleasing.
I liked the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
The A120 was great.
The A120, yes.
Yes. I think, but I think that it's good for different reasons.
Also, we're arguing that Elijah Craig is better than Elijah Craig. So
we're arguing whether or not Heaven Hill is doing a good job or a great job.
Yeah.
Or a great job or a really great job.
Which ties right back into their barrel pick selection program that we talked about earlier.
That was on the pregame chats, though.
Still, I mean.
Patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast. Anyway. This... I'm spending so much time thinking about it and contemplating how I'm going to talk about it. But really, really, truly, I have not been so blown away by a bourbon in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if I had to equate it to the blown away by parameters, I'm thinking like 2017 WLW, Kentucky Owl Batch 9, Booker's 30th.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, it's not often that I am given pause over what to say next about a whiskey or what to say next about a bourbon. And this one has just kind of thrown me for a loop. And again, not in the same way that the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 820 did. That one was a conundrum. That one, to me, I could not figure out why it tasted the way that it did. This one, everything's laid out for us. And I get it. And I think that's what's tripping me up, is that I understand what's happening, but I don't know if, like, mentally I can accept it. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you have a bourbon that can literally just make you think for this period of time, because the amount of pauses we've taken,
yeah,
I'm stumped.
There will be very little edited out.
Yeah.
In between phrases and sentences, or even in the middle of sentences,
yeah.
Because I want you guys to understand, I feel very strongly about this, but I'm also very confused.
Yes. That's honestly how I approach life.
That is your mantra.
Yeah, so it's great. It's great to drink something that's the same as me.
I don't know. I don't even know how to transition into scoring this because, I mean, let's just do it. So we have a review system on the show of nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5. Final score is out of 20. And you can multiply by 5 if you want to know percentage-wise what that might be. But dang it, man. I don't want to, and that's the thing. Like, all of this is so subjective.
It is, yeah.
And go ahead, sorry.
No, I just think you think about this stronger than I do, which is impressive because I think it's wonderful. If I had to go with a nose score, I'd give it a 4.5.
Yeah.
honestly, it's not even like
I'm on board with it.
I can stick my nose as far in the glass as I want to, and it's not going to hurt me. It is just a cream soda, kind of like slight bit of tangerine. Like it is just, it's amazing. And then to me, I mean, so you're giving it 4.5 for the nose?
Yeah, and honestly, and here's my reasoning. Because I give a high score, it doesn't mean that everything has to fall at or above this range.
Yeah.
What I mean by giving a score is this is my evaluation of what this product is. It's not in comparison to other products. It is solely based on what my experience is with it. That becomes the problem with the subjectivity of it. Which is why I'm struggling so much to put this forth. But the palate's a 5. The palate is incredible.
It is.
And it's deep, it's complex, it's easy to drink, it's easy to revisit. I think that it's still going to introduce different flavors the further we get into it, the more that the bottle opens up. Mm-hmm. And from the first time that I tried it last Thursday until now, it's changed. It's gone from purely just this s'mores bomb to being more complex.
Yeah, see, I'm getting like kind of a campfire-y s'mores macadamia nut thing going on,
and there's still a fruity note to it as well.
Yeah,
I mean it's kind of cornucopia-ish.
It's got a little bit of everything.
It does. So it's a 5. It's a 5 for me. I can't deny it any longer.
I think for me it's going to be another 4.5.
And that's it's totally okay.
Because I kind of going back to like the fake chocolate, real chocolate thing, like.
But see, that's where the finish comes in for me.
Yes,
that's where I'm giving it a 4. And that's the one issue I have with it. It is long, it's decadent, it's got so much going for it. There's a bit of a hug. It's not too much that it kind of feels like it's going to give me heartburn, but it's enough to where I want to keep revisiting it.
I think I'm going to go with a 4 as well. Now, the last one, price, I think this is very appropriately priced. $50. It's a 5 for me.
I can't disagree with you, Swan.
Yeah.
Truly. I think, again, going back to what I was talking about in terms of value, there's so much meticulous work that goes into crafting this. It's not your average, well, we're blending 8 and 12-year-old barrels to make generally what Elijah Craig Small Batch was before we took the age statement away. It's a quality product first and foremost, and then they are trying to up their game.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like this lands. Yeah. It is allocated.
It is.
I understand that. I fully accept and respect that. But the thing is, how many allocated products of this quality do you find at this price?
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
I mean, when you say allocated, you're thinking 100 plus.
Yeah, I either think 100 plus or craft distiller that put out a smaller yield.
Right. So, in this case, it is about as... And again, this is all subjective towards us. And I know that people are going to disagree with us. I know that they're going to hear this a month from now when Elijah Craig Toasted actually comes out to the general public. And they're going to say, I just don't get it. I totally understand. But in our point of view, this is as close to a perfect allocated product as I could imagine.
Yeah.
And you just blended the two together, didn't you?
Oh, I'm a monster, yeah.
Fine, I'll do it too. I'm imagining that it's going to quell some of the toasted notes. Really? It's really brought the rye out for me.
The only demerit I'll give this is I definitely think that, and this is honestly a demerit. That's funny. This is a summer bourbon to me. It drinks a little more light. It drinks a little more like in the heat, kind of like I could see myself sipping this out on the porch when it's 80, 90 degrees and not being too bad. The regular Elijah Craig to me is like
all year round.
It's all year round, but like it has a certain soft spot at like Christmas, Thanksgiving, kind of the colder months and stuff. We just call that versatility. I mean, we'll take that.
I actually kind of associate the Toasted Barrel with early to mid fall, and I think it's because just I'm associating it with campfires and trying to stay warm.
This is good. It's not as good.
I believe that. Sure. Believe that. Yeah. Yeah. I think it really did bring forth the rye characteristic.
Yeah.
Behind it. Oh, but the finish is really good, though.
Just living over here.
The finish is really where that toasted aspect comes out. Yeah.
I'm just so impressed, man.
I am too. Oh, man. So my final score was an 18.5.
Mine was an 18.
So this is a hard recommend for me.
This is buy it.
I mean, I can't. I wanted again to review this product as soon as I found out that it was a thing, and the fact that we got a bottle of it a month before it ever hit the market blows me away. And to actually be as favorable about it as we are.
What do you think's next for Elijah Craig?
That is a really good question.
They're taking the Weller lineup kind of deal. They're doing they're expanding on their staples.
If we look at what they've already got, I would imagine that a barrel-proof rye would be next. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think that a single barrel bourbon is the most ideal for them. I can see it being beneficial.
I could see them doing what Jim Beam just did with their single barrel, making it not an aggressively high proof, like 105, 110, and doing a single barrel and putting it out at that proof.
It's somewhere between the Jim Beam single barrel and Rare Breed.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, just it's not a super high proof, but it's
a little extra
present.
Yeah.
Or maybe just a more commonly released barrel proof Elijah Craig. Or high proof.
I'm going to take it all back and realize that you just put out an amazing product that I should be happy with. I know that's got to irritate somebody when it's just like, we just made this perfect new thing. Here, have it.
We're not, but I am interested in what could be next for them. Because we have seen aggressive expansion in the past year for Elijah Craig products. It's not every company, every distillery that puts out 2 new products under the brand with very different expressions.
Yeah, and not following kind of doing the whole follow the leader thing where they're like, oh, well, everybody's doing cognac finish this year. I guess we'll put out one of those. Because we've seen that in the past couple of years. Yeah. There's a good amount of people that put out the same sort of release simultaneously. Yeah. And they just went, you know what? Left field looks pretty good. And they went out there. And it worked. Worked great.
I honestly don't know in this case. It's I'm just happy with where they are right now. Truly. Yeah. I don't think that they need to do anything different. I think the rye's solid. I think that the Toasted Barrel is exceptional, above solid. I don't know. What more do we want? It would be cool to see a barrel proof rye. But I'm not dying for it.
No. But you have your own shelf in my house, and you will continue to have one. So I just keep adding to it. I'll just fill the shelf. It's all good.
I feel like you've got a shelf here too.
I do, yeah.
Anyway, that I just once again want to say thank you, Heaven Hill. Really, thank you so much for sending us this product. Thank you for being meticulous in your presentation of it as well. I think that you guys did something really cool and different.
It's beautiful.
I'm just very thankful for them and for providing us with this opportunity. So thank you, Heaven Hill. That's all I'm really getting at. Swan, after a great review, we should definitely keep drinking some bourbon.
In agreement with that one.
Do you want some of this rear age stated Elijah Craig?
Whew, sign me up, Chief.
Put me in, Coach. But we also have to do tips and bits.
We do.
Where we recommend things to people.
I've got a good one.
Okay.
So I've been...
What if you had a bad one? What if you came in one week and you were like, "This is a terrible recommendation. I don't want anybody
going to work. Not it. just don't do it." But no, I the Umbrella Academy. I recommended a long time ago, and they just put out a second season.
Have you finished it?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm about halfway through it. They did this with the first one as well. They do a full, and I remember specifically mentioning this on the episode. They're like, it's a 45-minute episode. The first 40 minutes of it, you're like, okay, yeah, I guess. And then the last 5 minutes, it's just like all the closure that you need.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay. And then it just leads into the next episode. They are the king of cliffhangers.
Wow, okay.
It is 40 minutes of what is going on.
Do you have any experience with a comic book? Like the source material?
No.
Okay. So you don't know kind of where the story's going?
No. If you read the Stephen King novel 11/22/63, this is a phenomenal thing. Or if you enjoyed the movie The Butterfly Effect, just this is it. This is just more of that content for you to consume. I think it's a good TV show. It's a great way to sink a 45-minute period if you want to watch it. Also, Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix.
It's been a long time since I've watched it. And don't get me wrong, I loved it. I loved that show when it first came out. It's one of my favorite animated series of all time. But I need to revisit it, and I need to revisit it in full.
You do, because when I was a kid, I remember having a hard time watching it in a linear way, like actually watching it in the correct order.
Yeah.
Now that I can, it's kind of like watching SpongeBob. I know that's going to sound bad, but like, you know how there's like double entendres as a child you couldn't pick up on, and now you're rewatching and you're like, oh my goodness, okay. They've got some of those layered into it. There's some stuff that SpongeBob has said that I'm just like, how did they put that in a kid's show? This one's got a few moments like that, not nearly as many, but it's got a few.
One of my favorites is I can't remember what it is. SpongeBob's like at the beach with Plankton or something, and Plankton goes, "Is that an all over tan?" And he goes, "Well, not all over me." I don't know, man. I don't have a whole lot of tips and bits this week. Oddly enough, we watched this movie on Saturday night called Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's a French film from late last year, and it's really interesting as a character study. I think it's acted very well. It's very mindful of its characters. For sure. There isn't a whole lot that happens, and I can like Lucy found it pretty boring. You know, I was enjoying the sets and the colors and everything, but at the same time, I mean, I get it. I can understand why it wouldn't be the most entertaining thing in the entire world, but it's a story about it's a period piece, a period French piece. About a woman who's being given away to her future husband, and there's a painter who's being brought in to paint a portrait of her to give away to her her future husband, and over the course of this female painter trying to get to know this character, they basically just fall in love, and they're trying to hide it during all this and everything, and it's just it's very emotionally driven without being too over the top. I mean, you can really feel some of the tension, I would say. But again, it doesn't really feel like a whole lot happens. And I can understand why people would criticize it.
Yeah.
For that. It's good.
I
liked it.
Tip for you. You ready for this?
Okay.
Do you ever get food delivered to the house?
Oh, yes. Of course.
Okay. I have a new game for you to play.
Oh, okay.
You know how there's a special instruction section in most of these, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you something about that in a second.
So I saw this video online, and I was like, this is perfect for Perry. But what they do is they go in and they say, I'm going to give them the normal, 10% tip. But if you can drop the food off without the dogs barking, I'll give you an extra $10 tip.
See, what I've done now is I've just straight up said, do not ring the doorbell, the baby's sleeping. It's like a month and a half, 2 month preparation for me, so that if, we do have food delivered to the house, we don't have to worry about it. But anyway, that's a great idea, because long-time listeners of the show know that Marie is quite the barker.
Oh, but see, that's the best part. It's like, even if she was asleep, you could just pick her up and be like, look, he's coming over here, and then just ruin the tip for him if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that, though.
Oh,
that's mean. That's mean to the deliverer.
Oh, come on. He's still getting the tip. It's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think it'd be fun.
It would be.
It's
to
a fun
degree.
game, because I can imagine them tiptoeing up, just like, oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this tip. And then
you know what I would do? Instead of trying to egg her on, is just play a doorbell sound effect on YouTube. Because that's just as bad.
It's just bad. God, we're awful.
No good, man. No good. Anyway, that's Tips and Bits for this week. This has been an interesting episode, I think. We haven't really taken a deep dive into a review in this way in a long time.
No.
But I'm really happy we did. Again, this currently reigns supreme as my best bourbon of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, it does. And I don't want to set myself up for failure, especially with other releases coming out this year. I mean, we're only in August. There's still 4 months left out of the year for other things to come out. And I also, I haven't done this blind with anything. I haven't side-by-sided it with anything either.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. But it's at least on August 3rd of this year.
It's doing well.
It's doing real well. Real good for itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that does it for us this week. Thank you all so much for listening, as you always do. Swan, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at My Bourbon Finder.
And I am at PRaider1492 on all social media channels. You can also follow the show at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review on the iTunes podcast app. No new reviews this week, but if you do actually leave us one, we'll be happy to read it out on the show for you here. And maybe next week we'll kind of take a deep dive into some older 5-star reviews. I don't know if we've read all of them, but maybe we'll review or revisit a few of those, of course. You can find all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com. And we actually, Swan, did you know about this? We have masks now with the podcast logo on it.
Oh, sweet.
I've actually got one in the mail on the way. I'm pretty pumped about it.
That'd be nice. Walk into liquor barn like, anybody see this? Anybody see this right here?
This is my bourbon podcast. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got masks now available as well. Maybe I'll throw up a sale this week before the episode itself goes live, just so by the time it comes up, we can get some mask sales for folks. It does take a little bit of time for them to get to you, but you can throw some other items into your cart. I've got a phone case and a new shirt headed my way as well. They've got tough phone cases, like durable phone cases with the logo and everything on it. So I can't wait. I'm really excited for it. You can send us any questions or comments to thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. We'll be happy to read any of those out on the show. You can also leave us a voicemail for barrel rings. That number is 859-428-8253. And it's always fun when we get a barrel ring on the show.
Yeah.
Goofy, usually. But
makes my day.
But you know what's not goofy is being a supporter of the show at patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast, where you can be a supporter of the show for as little as $1 a month. We appreciate everybody who is, of course, able to do that. If you are not able to, we fully understand. Just listening and sharing with your friends is a great way for you to support the show. But if you do support the show at, say, the $5 tier, you get the pregame chats. And you also get our last call, which we just started a couple weeks ago. But it's a really good time. You get to hear us kind of wrap up the week's content from the show. And I think we need to thank a patron this week. Swan.
Who we got?
We have this week the man himself, Dave Jennings, Rarebird 101. Who is at the $5 tier, who gets the bonus audio content as well. He has been a patron of the show since July 2018.
That is the man.
Long-time supporter of the podcast. We really appreciate you, Dave.
Also, new book. Go pick that up.
Great new book, by the way. That was one of the reasons that I listened to Whiskey Cast today, too, because he was being interviewed about it in the history of Walker Turkey and all this, that, and the other. But anyway... Dave, thank you so much for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. And I think that does it for this week. Next week is actually our chill, looser episode.
I'm excited. I'm already loose as it is. I don't know what I'm going to do next week.
I don't either. I'm going to be coming off of my birthday high as well. So,
Nice.
I mean that in a good way. I don't mean that like, you know what I mean. Anyway.
Yeah.
My birthday's this week. It doesn't feel like it, though.
Nah.
I think because I have a baby on the way.
You're going to be 25 plus experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what we'll keep telling people.
And you just do that till you're old.
Yeah, sure. And we'll tell you more next week. But until then, I'm Perry.
And I'm Swan.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast. Good ending. Good ending.
Yeah.
We'll tell you more next time.